Hello everyone. We've spoken for a long time of movement and matter. I think it's finally time to talk about the nature of movement. That is, forces. Let's start. There exist two kinds of forces, real forces and illusory forces. Illusory forces include inertia, they're forces that appear to be there, but are actually not, while real forces are the strong and weak nuclear interactions. And most importantly, the electromagnetic interaction. The nuclear interactions are responsible for the creation of protons and neutrons and for radioactive decay, while the electromagnetic interaction is responsible for everything else.
But Thomas, me pushing an object is an electromagnetic force. It's because of me.
You see, every force is really an electromagnetic force brought to a massive scale. Let me explain that more carefully. Every fundamental particle, such as electrons, have a property called electric charge, which describes how they exchange virtual photons and react to those exchanges. Virtual photons are immaterial particles stemming from quantum mechanics. When an electron creates a virtual photon, it launches it to the closest particles and thus experiences a recoil due to the intrinsic symmetry of the universe. According to the electric charge of the receiving particle, it either experiences a recoil as well if it's negatively charged, or gets attracted towards the electron if it is positively charged. The reason this happens is because the virtual photon carries a momentum, which is perceived as positive by negatively charged particles, and negatively by positively charged particles. Forces of physical interaction are thus electromagnetic interactions expanded to our scale. The strong and weak nuclear interactions work exactly the same, but they exchange other types of virtual particles instead of photons. When a particle moves, however, its electric field gets disturbed by the change in space-time. This disturbance generates a new force, which is the magnetic force. The magnetic field is thus linked to the electric one. Hence our act of merging the two. These disturbances propagate in space, creating electromagnetic waves. Those waves are responsible for light and heat. Depending on how fast the particle is moving, the electromagnetic wave propagates with more or less heat. This determines wavelength, and we can only see a small portion of those wavelengths.
But Thomas, you didn't talk about gravity yet. How do you explain the gravitational force with this model of yours?
Simple. As you saw, all of those phenomena emerge from symmetry. Gravity also emerges from symmetry. The pressure created by the amount of materials inside of an object make that object expand. And, since for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, space itself must contract towards the center of the object in order to balance the pressure. The curvature also affects time, of course, and therefore an object that moves through time will change its direction in accordance with the curvature. Gravity is not a force, it is a phenomenon, emerging from the intrinsic symmetry of the universe. This was all about forces. Next time we will focus on the end times. How will the universe end? See you next time. Be well.